Good morning, everybody. It's a very dark Sunday morning for me over here on the west coast of America. How about you? And why are you fanning yourself already? That's normally what I need to do because of our heat.
I'm fanning myself because I'm a little bit warm because I've been running around like a blue behind fly, shall we say? Let's keep it polite for now. This morning was dark. This afternoon, the sun is shining, but we are forecast for rain at this precise moment. So, hey ho. We live in hope, die in despair, as they say. But
Oh, okay.
other than that, are you fitting well yourself?
I feel absolutely wonderful. My throat is absolutely gone. It's shot. We have done this will be my 12th podcast of the week. And I have one more following this one. So I just hope my throat holds out because we have been on our one of our partner shows, Talented Universe. We have been absolutely going balls to the wall, shall we say, as far as interviews. Sometimes doing three and four in one day. So we've been covering a lot of the voice actors since the voice is now restarted here in America. I mean, not actors, but singers. A lot of our regular actors and some directors and things like that. So we've
Okay.
been busy.
Well, you see, you should not be in such demand.
Oh, hey, we love it. We absolutely love it.
You know what they say in the forces? Never volunteer for anything. And damn it, girl, you still volunteering.
Uh,
Yeah, I
well, if
know. You hate me. I don't care.
yes, I do. But anyways, let's go ahead and kind of slide into our movie. We're doing Boy and the Heron this morning,
Yes, we
and
are.
it is, on first glance, a lot of people are going to say it's a drug-fueled, crazy, unbelievable, they can't understand story. But if you actually sit there and watch it, it is so much more. And if you understand Miyazaki, how he created it, why he created it, you will see his entire story for both his personal life and the life through Studio Ghibli running through this entire film. And there's so many metaphors to it that we're just going to have to unpack this one slow thing at a time.
You see, you approached it from one angle, and I approached it from the other angle. I mean, when I first watched it, I just sat there and I thought, what the hell? Um, and my first impressions of the film was it reminded me of a 1960, late 60s, early 70s version of Alice in Wonderland, which was it left you absolutely confused as to what the hell was reality and what wasn't reality. I mean, I've watched it a lot since then, and like you say, there's a lot to unpack from the box
Yes.
because it is a box. It's a little box of tricks. I suppose one could call it a potpourri of Miyazaki. There's bits and pieces of all sorts in there, and you've got to be alert to find them. But there's also, for me, one or two plot holes. We'll get on.
Well, we'll get into that. Like I said, I consider it, the best way I can put it is this is a love letter from Miyazaki to us, his fans, as a farewell to what we know as Studio Ghibli from this movie going back. Going forward, there might be another Miyazaki movie, we don't know, but it's not going to be quite the same for reasons that I will get into. And unfortunately, they're kind of a couple of sad reasons with Studio Ghibli.
Yeah,
So,
I mean this film, as far as I'm aware, this film took over seven years to produce.
correct. And it
I
went
mean,
through COVID.
well, yeah, I mean, it started 2017, and surprisingly, by 2020, only 36 minutes had been hand drawn
That's
by
correct.
2020. And I
That
mean,
is,
this is a 2 hour, well, over 2 hour film you're talking about.
yes.
You took 2017 to 2020 to get half an hour done.
Well, there is
Ridiculous.
there's kind of a reason for that. A lot of the movie, they were halfway through, and one of the co-founders and someone that Miyazaki considered to be his brother, his best friend, and like I said, basically his other part of the creative team. There are three, but his other part, he always, like I said, considered his brother. Um, I can never say the name right, so please forgive me. Asao Takahashi. He wound up passing away during the making of this film,
Ah,
and that was his. Huh?
Takahaki, he's the guy that did Grave of the Fireflies.
That's correct. That is
Yeah.
correct. And along with that, then there followed up was two more deaths that were associated with the movie and associated with Ghibli Studios. Yasuo Osaka, um, and if you've seen any of the Ghibli movies or even some of the other Japanese anime movies, he's very famous for his little yellow car that kind of pops up along in several of the different movies. He's very well known, very famous, throughout the industry with that. And then, oh, what was her name? Oh, um, Mishito Yasada. She was the arts creator, the drawer, incredibly famous and talented, and many awards in her own right. She passed away as well during the making of this movie, which he was also using her on the movie. So you have those three key people, not only key to him, key to the studio, but key to this film in particular. Plus, like I said, we went through COVID. So there is no reason or why this movie wouldn't have been delayed.
I know Takahata wasn't COVID, but what about the other two?
Um,
What was
it,
them?
it's not said, it's not stated what they died for, and I did not do a deep dive research into that. I
I
probably
mean,
could have or
I
should have,
know
but
I know while this was being formulated and put together, I know the Kyoani firebombing took place, and a lot of people copped it in that. There was about 36, if I remember rightly. I'm just wondering if any of those two were involved with Kyoto Animation at the time. That was all. It's just a simple.
no, you're bringing a good point. You're bringing a very very good point. I think you're right because my neighbor the Yamadas wasn't that one that was under it, or was that
My neighbor Yamada's a Ghibli. That's
Ghibli?
a
Okay,
Ghibli.
yeah, this is Ghibli. Okay, so no, I remember something vaguely in the back of my mind, and you might be right.
Yeah, I know. As I say, I know there was a lot because, as you say, Ghibli was closing down and people were
Yeah.
branching out. Um, I remember, I can't remember exactly when, but somewhen during that particular time, the Kyoani firebombing took place, where 36 Japanese animators, producers, and directors all caught it in Kyoto Animation. So,
You might
and I
be
was
one
just
hundred
wondering
percent.
if one of those two, I'm not saying they were or both of
Yeah.
them were, but one of them might. I was just me being curious. That was all. Just me being.
No,
I
you
thought,
bring up a very very good point that um, I didn't even associate with, and I should have. Especially when you have all of those so closely, in the time
yeah.
span.
But they're
So,
all they're all interlinked as well as we found out. We're doing these films.
oh yeah.
Was it Okozin had blooming Studio Ghibli animators?
Hmm.
Mary and the Witch's Flower again, producers directors from Ghibli. So, I was just wondering if they'd actually been involved with a particular animation studio. I mean, as far as I'm aware, Kyoto Animation was and still is a rather large animation studio. I mean, it rather like Ghibli, it plows
Yeah.
its own path.
Oh,
So,
it does.
so I was just wondering. That was all.
It does. And I know
Anyway,
you and I
sorry
were
for
just
interrupting.
no, 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 no. You know, but I, like I said, not only do I, like I said, I think he made it a love letter to the family, to the fans, basically his family, but also Studio Ghibli will never be the same, and for just the three reasons that I just said,
Yeah,
because of the fact that these three people were so closely tied to not only Miyazaki but to Ghibli Studios.
yeah,
Going forward, he may, you know, do another animation. However, in interviews that I have seen with him as of recently, he, even with this movie, had already started to release control a little bit and had a hands off. And some of the animators were talking about the fact that he used to be 100%, it's got to be done this way. I've got to have my hand in it the whole way. He
yeah,
said by the time that they were halfway done with the movie, he had released all control and put total trust into the animators that were doing it.
yeah. I mean, I think a film that we are going to look at a later date, Tales of Earthsea. I think that was where he started to try and step back. I mean, that was
Well,
what 2013, was it 2011, 2013, something like that. Tales of Earthsea, something like that. That was one of the few that he relinquished all, well, not all control, but he handed it over to, shall we say, Miyazaki Jr.
well, that is, I think, a lot of it is explained in this movie.
Mm.
Like I said, this is one of the things that, looking throughout the movie, you will see that this, for me, is 100% Miyazaki's story. He
Oh,
goes back to the grief, the death, the bullying, the mental health issues regarding the bullying, regarding the grief of the loss of his mother. Now, granted, his mother did not die during the war. She did live until 77, but she was very ill, and when she passed away, it still
yeah.
hit him incredibly hard.
Oh,
Um,
I can attest to that. Yes,
so,
one's
I
just
mean,
one's mother does hit one hard.
this movie was, I think, a way of him cathartically releasing so many of these things, and also him wanting to pass it on to his son, wanting to
Mm.
give it to his son, but his son may not necessarily be like, okay, I'm not sure I want it, but if I take it, it's going to be done my way and the way I look at things. And
Well,
he
yeah.
had a hard time releasing um, his control of that. And I think at the end of this movie, it's kind of also the same thing where he finally accepts, in the story, he accepts the fact that, okay, I'm going to release control and have trust and faith that my child will continue. Maybe not necessarily the way I would do it, but I trust him that it's going to be wonderful, and he will forge his own path.
So you in effect you're saying that the main character is the young Miyazaki, and also at the same time the Tower Master is the old Miyazaki.
Uh, Granduncle is the old Miyazaki, yes,
Yeah, and
and it's
the
kind of
MC is the
juxtaposed.
young.
Right. And it's kind
Yeah,
of juxtaposed because you have the young and then you have the old, and the old is, I wish I could have done things differently.
different.
I
Yeah.
can't. But you now are coming, into this. This is why, and we'll kind of go into it, why I kind of wanted to give this to you, or you're my lineage, you're my DNA.
Yeah.
But, you know,
That explains one of the things that I found surprising in the film. But as you say, we'll get there in the end. I'll explain what I'm getting at. But there you go.
yeah. Well, like I said, there's so much. And there's no way that we could even cover probably half of the stuff in one particular show of ours, because
No, I mean
it
this.
literally,
Yeah,
yeah.
this film for me, it is. It's like a black hole. It's got lots and lots of stuff in there, but A, finding it, B digging it out and C explaining it will take time. We're not here to dissect and, pull it apart. We're here to express our opinions of it, whether we liked it or not, and whether we recommend it or not. We're not here to destroy it.
We're not here
However
to
it
destroy it,
sounds.
no, but I do think we're here to not pull it apart, but definitely point out certain aspects that might make it more enjoyable for somebody else to watch if they haven't. Now that
Yeah,
they're looking and they understand, okay, that's what this person thinks or sees, and that's what this person sees.
yeah,
So they can look through. It's like, oh yeah, I did catch that. You know, Aisha was right, or oh yeah, that makes sense with what Liz was saying, following
yeah.
through.
Like the studio Keanu Annie bit that I brought up. That was,
Yeah,
that's the sort of thing that we intend to do. Because some of us are rather more into our animation than we should be. Just put it
there's
that way.
nothing wrong with that. And speaking of
Really?
more, no, speaking of more into your animation,
So
yes,
some
yes,
people take one look at this and think, yeah, you are definitely out of control when it comes to your anime, your
I've seen
Japanese
worse.
anime.
I have seen worse, believe it or not.
Yeah, I'm so glad. I just thought I was a lunatic. That was all, between the DVDs and Blu-rays and the figures.
Well,
Everybody thinks I've got this lot and that lot. They don't realise that above this particular shelf, there's another shelf, and then there's more out there. They're
well,
everywhere.
you are a lunatic, but that doesn't have anything to do with anime.
Thank you, Liz. I mean, that's when I sit in my corner and leave you to it.
You know I love you.
Oh, yeah, yeah. As my grandma used to say, yeah, you love me like a hole in the head.
Uh, um,
I love you
since
too.
uh, since you're such a humongous anime fan, amongst several other movie genres, can you tell me what all that you found in the movie that was kind of certain things were pulled from?
Well, yeah, I could. I could. I mean, one of the first ones I instantly thought of was when the film starts, and it's the air raid. I thought, Grave of the Fireflies, straight away. No ifs, buts, and maybes. I thought, Grave of the Fireflies. And I thought, hey, if this carries on in this way, I'm going to be sat here really enjoying the film.
Yeah.
Um, and the main character, when the film first starts, I thought, yeah, this is an okay kid. This kid knows the score. He's streetwise for Tokyo. But it didn't. It didn't. It suddenly went from Grave of the Fireflies and morphed into Spirited Away. Um, by that I mean he left Tokyo, much as the last film, Spirited Away, left her home, went to this out of the way countrified area, and finds a rather strange new world. So that was the second bit that came to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Then once he entered the strange new world, instantly my mind went to Howl's Moving Castle. Instantly, I thought, Howl's Moving Castle. This thing appears all over the place, all at the same time. I mean, I
Yeah.
suppose the only other film I could think that does that is Kroll from years and years ago. Um, and there are other films, I mean, that I picked up on. One of them that I picked up on at one stage was as the main character is going to meet the guy in charge. I thought, this is a mixture of Wizard of Oz and 2001: A Space Odyssey. But that was just me.
Yeah.
Just what I picked up as the film progressed, and I'm thinking, okay, Miyazaki sat down, thought this through. And when I went digging, I found out that the film actually in Japan is not called The Boy and the Heron.
No, it's not.
It is, and please excuse my pronunciation because it's probably kill it. It is Kamichiwa do Ikuruka, or How Do You
Uh,
Live, which is actually a 1937 uh,
1937 novel.
novel, but it's not an adaptation of that novel. He's just nicked the title.
Right.
It's a bit like Ghibli's Tales of Earthsea. It's not an adaptation of Tales of Earthsea or Wizard of Earthsea. They just nicked the title, basically. But yeah, um, and I wondered, well, you've done all these films. Why did you just, nick the title? But hey, that's the way they wanted to play it. It's it goes along at its own little pace for the 120 odd minutes plus that it's around for. Well, what did you pick out of it?
I got many different things from many different genres, but starting with Studio Ghibli, it was right there, in your face, definitely Grave of the Fireflies at the beginning.
Hmm.
But I also saw, you had mentioned Spirited Away, which I saw, but I also saw Howl's Moving Castle and a little bit of Amity in it as well. But the main thing that to me I found was a main thread running all the way throughout, and it stands to reason Miyazaki did it, and it was the same thing that his own father had done, and we discussed in The Wind Rises. Was
Yeah,
all you saw was a lot of the wind rises going through with both the paper the paper herons in the wind rises, and then the flock of herons and different things that you see up in the sky, and also the fact that his mother, or excuse me, his father had that new airplane factory plant.
hmm,
And here's the thing that a lot of us don't think about. He his father was actually part of a contributor to his mother's death, if you
yeah,
think about it. you
yeah.
know
It's something that I picked up on as well. But please continue.
um and a couple other things that were definitely not Japanese anime or anything like that. um is I don't know how many of the audience out there are Doctor Who fans, but there is one particular episode of Doctor Who that deals with adipose. And they're so cute, little white squishy beings that are like baby beings that float up into the air. And that's the first thing that I thought of when I saw the Walla. It was like, oh my goodness. And Miyazaki is very good at doing those, cute little oft forms of different things. He has that talent and that ability. And to have made them be the reincarnate lives of spirits definitely delves into a lot of the Japanese religions and reincarnation as well.
No, see, with the Wawa, I was kind of working through this. Are they new life, new souls, or are they reincarnated souls? You see where I'm coming from? I
No, I
wasn't
see.
sure what the right. I mean, I get them going up, but are they reincarnated souls from people that have passed, or
Yes.
are they new souls made from parts and memories of people that have passed? Hmm.
Oh, I like the way you just thought about that. I was thinking they were reincarnated because later on, in the show, you do see him winding up being, in the graveyard, and he knew it was a graveyard. And we
Mm,
know that this is kind of the underworld, shall we say, for lack of a better term. I mean, we even had the kind of the River Styx in there for a
yeah.
bit.
I mean,
Um,
again, where it came from. Why use pelicans as soul eaters?
uh,
Really?
I don't know, but a couple of the really strange um, things that I saw with it is, there is, even going back to the old classic original Star Trek, there are scenes or episodes where it's like, okay, I'll open this door and I'll go into this dimension or this world, or I'll open that door and I can go into it. And even going through with something as simple as animation, like Monsters Inc., where Sully's opening the doors, and seeing the different things and the different bedrooms that he could get into. And there's a lot of other more current shows, even classified as sci-fi, that if you look down this hallway and all you see is this endless hallway of doors with numbers on it, you open those doors and they will go into your time, a different time. So
Mhm.
I saw a lot of representation as far as different movies and shows throughout the years, kind of following along that genre.
No, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
one
Very
thing you
true.
one thing you had mentioned, and I wanted to ask your opinion. In the beginning, when the attack happened, and I was doing a kind of a timestamp on it because he's going, and 1 year later after this they moved, and then 2 years or whatever after the war. And I was kind of gauging it in my head.
Yeah,
And both you and I are immense history lovers. I
yeah.
am 99.5% certain that was probably Doolittle's raid.
Hmm.
What do you
I
think?
I sat and tried to work out the timeline myself. Um, this is where I have a little bit of a question mark where
Okay.
Miyazaki's head was when he did the film with the timeline. Um, when they start and they have that raid, the
Mm-hmm.
firebomb raid,
Right.
those raids started what, end of 42, beginning of 43 ish,
About that, yeah.
right? Um, they left Tokyo 44. He says that in the film. 1944, we left Tokyo.
Right.
Right. And they turn up at this, what's her name? I do have her name. I did.
Oh, the aunt or
Natsuko.
his new wife. Yeah.
Natsuko. Yeah, Natsuko. They turn up at her place. Um, and she's already pregnant.
Well, yes.
Now, excuse me, but if that firebomb raid, let's give them benefit of the doubt here, that firebomb raid happened mid 43 ish. That's when they really got started. Um, and her baby was already moving around, so that makes it at
Hmm.
least 6 months to feel all the bumps and the lumps.
About that.
Yeah. So that to me means that, I mean, you don't know exactly when in 44 they moved. So I would say Daddykins was already playing away before Mummy died in
No.
the fire.
No.
Yeah, that's the way I work it. I
Okay.
mean, giving
Yeah.
it, giving him the leeway. Daddykins certainly. I mean, to move from mum to the sister. I mean, even the kid Mojito, when he first sees her, the first thing he comes out with is she looks like mum.
Mom.
You know what I mean? Even if you stretch it out a bit, from when mother dies to when they turn up at the new place with the stepmom, the timeline doesn't fit. Not the way the Japanese play it. That timeline does not fit.
Well, yes, it does. No, it doesn't. It does timeline wise. No, I don't think anything was going on. Between his aunt, now new stepmom, um, before his mother died. I do think because of two reasons. One, and this is not just within the Japanese culture, which you know a lot more of than I do with certain things, but this also is a very big foundation in some other cultures that if a spouse dies, and this happened with Miyazaki as well, his mother was his father's second wife.
Mm.
So, you know, um, if a spouse dies, to keep all assets within the family, they are immediately married to someone in the family if they can.
Mm. Find it strange. I mean, even within the Japanese society, they do have this certain timeline that they like to follow. There's a certain time from when one dies to when one re-engages, and even stretching it out, putting it at the end of 42 to the beginning of 44, giving them the whole 12 months. Even that is shoving it in lots of ways. And the fact that when the kid turns up, I mean, let's again play fair. Say it's what, April, May, June. That means the deed had to be done at the end of 40. Yeah, had to be done at the end of 43.
Unless it turned up in June, it'd be January when they were doing it. But yeah, still close enough. I mean,
Yeah,
eh,
you see where I'm coming from. It just doesn't. And I mean, when you see at the end of the film in 47, when they go back to Tokyo,
mm-hmm.
look at the child that's standing at the bottom of those stairs.
Yeah,
That
I,
child at the bottom of those stairs has to be at least 3 years old.
oh no, 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 no. It was
It's
very
not a
obvious.
2 year old. It's
Oh,
not a
it
two
was
year
very
old.
obvious he was only about 18 months old.
No, it's standing there on its own perfectly. He stood there on
Yeah.
his own perfectly fine. I would say that child's got to be at least 2.5. Got to be.
No, 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 no. I just base this on my own children and a lot of the children that I have either raised or been with. No, at
Yeah.
that age, yeah, no, that part was appropriate. And
Yeah,
like I
well,
said,
we see this thing different then.
oh, I get, and that's
We
what's
see
so
it
fun.
different.
That is what's so fun, though. I
Yeah.
mean,
I said, I sat and as I've watched it more and more, I've looked at the timeline and I keep thinking, hang on, sunshine, yeah, you're playing away before mum goes. So obviously you knew that, that the wife was going to die.
well, she
So
was
you
in the
were already
hospital.
lining up a replacement.
Yeah, that's a
And
possibility.
yeah, and the replacement was already carrying, he had his heir, but he always made sure that wife number two or whatever had the spare already on the go before he got there. you know.
Yeah, I just think it was okay. We're playing with so many minutes within the show. We can only do so much, and like I
Yeah,
said, in my mind, it was rushed, but I think it fit. It was
it,
still,
it fits, but just fits.
yeah.
it fits, but it fits, but just fits. Oh, thank you for the
Yep.
like, Sabrina. Much
I was just gonna call you out to
appreciated,
her.
darling.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just something I did. I mean, as I said, I've watched it about half a dozen times now. So every time I watch it, I pick up on something different. It's
Oh
just
yeah.
this particular time I picked up on the timeline and I thought, yeah, okay.
The one movie I literally love to pick apart, and I have now watched probably well over 200 times since it came out, and I think that's on the low end. And every time I watch it, I pick apart something else. Is the latest Titanic movie. One, because I have been a heavy researcher of Titanic since I wasn't even a teenager yet. I've read the trials from both the UK side and from our side, I have watched interviews with some of the last survivors, during that time. And it's
Mm.
every time I watch the movie, I either see something that wasn't right or it didn't happen the way they said it in the movie or different things.
This is this the one with
Leonardo DiCaprio, yeah.
yeah. Mm.
So,
Yeah,
and
okay.
I'm not saying it wasn't a bad movie. Obviously,
Mm.
I watched it over 200 times. It was a good
Yeah. Oh,
movie.
no.
Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah. You see, for me, I mean, going slightly off topic here, for me, the best Titanic film I've ever seen is
Night to Remember. Yep,
exactly
yep. Me too.
1953, I believe that one.
I believe it was. Yeah.
Yeah. A Night to Remember, Kenneth More.
Mhm.
Kenneth More is the officer that pulls the gun out.
No, Officer Lightower. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the one that, for me, that's the best Titanic film I've ever watched. To me, all the other ones are just follow-ons.
They say it's one of the most realistic too. So,
Yes, yes.
and
But
I have seen just about every Titanic movie ever made, including
yeah,
the one that was made days after.
I think the reason why A Night to Remember seems more realistic than anyone that comes later on is the fact that it's done in black and white, and
Mhm.
it's done in a very, shall we say, British style. You know, one sits there in first class lounge with one's whiskey as the ship slips beneath the waves with a very stiff upper lip saying tally ho and let's go.
Uh,
You know, women and children first, except if you happen to be the designer, then you're off on the nearest bloody boat and gone.
mm,
That's
no comment.
his life. We digress. Let's get back to what we're meant to be doing, please.
Um, but there is a part in the movie where he finds the towers and he finds the entrance to this tower. And did you notice or were you able to understand what the words written were?
No, I meant to look that up.
Well, that happens to be
I do have the name. I do have it here. The
divine.
Simi La Divina Prostate or something.
Cor- Correct. It is actually something from Aesop's Fables, and it means divine power created me from Dante's Inferno.
Ah, I did write it down with the intention of looking it up. The problem was I got waylaid onto something else,
Oh, that
which I
happens.
did not find. I went looking for actual locations for this film, um,
Oh,
and unfortunately, there ain't any.
I was wondering that because when I was going through, going, oh, I hope maybe she found like some sort of real footage or something.
Yeah, no, I
Because
went looking. There is no direct um, association with any particular area in Tokyo or any prefecture where they move out to. There's nothing. There's nothing. It, I suppose the fact that it is when it was released 2022, 2023 ish, I don't suppose the people in Japan have gone looking that hard.
probably not.
I mean, I'm stuck in dear old Blighty, so I can't go looking. Um, but
Yeah, it
most of
was
the
real.
locations I have been found by these trekkers that specifically they're based in Japan or they live in Japan and they go looking. They obviously
Yeah.
haven't done this. They haven't done this for the boy and the heron yet. They're
Oh,
working on it.
they probably will shortly. Yes, it was released in Japan July 14th of 23.
Yeah, yeah. But
So,
newsflash for you: do you realise
what?
this is Japan's most expensive film?
Yes,
And the amount of money it's made up to about 2024 is staggering.
it is. If I remember correctly, it actually, I think, took off some of the top blockbusting hits that we even had, like there for years, and was accumulating all the money.
Yeah.
Like I said, for example, going back to like Titanic and then Avatar, and some of these, I think it even outbeat some of that.
Well, it's got here. It has earned a cumulative $94 million as of April the 15th, 2024. That's a hell of a lot. That's just in China. The film grossed US April the 15th, 2024, completely grossed $294.2 million.
Wow. And actually, before I tie into what you were just saying, can you tell me a trivia question? Because it ties into your what you were just reading. What does this movie and Twinkly Vampires have in common?
Which movie?
This movie that we're talking about right now
Yeah.
and Twilight or Twinkly Vampires have in common. And you can't look it up.
I'm not looking it up. I'm trying to think.
Because I guarantee you wouldn't have realized it listening.
Hmm. Well, it won't be anything to do with the directors or the producers. It won't have anything to do with the music. So I would presume it probably has something to do with the English dub version cast.
Correct.
But who exactly on that cast list it is, I would not know, because I'm not a Twilight fan.
No, okay, I'll out myself here. Yeah, I am. But Robert Pattinson, and he has done multiple different things. But he was Edward in Twilight. But he has done many, many other absolutely outstanding um, movies and performances. So, speaking of the American cast, Christian Bale was in it.
Yeah.
Dave Batista was in it. William Defoe was in it.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill was in it, and Robert as well.
Yeah.
So there were others as well, but it just.
Well, I've got a list here of who was in it.
Oh, okay.
Right? And I have got the one that plays the main character. I've got down as Luca Padovan. The Grey Heron is played by Robert Pattinson.
Mm-hmm.
Lady Himi is Karen Fukuhara.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
forgot to mention her. Yeah.
Nasuko is played by Gemma Chan. Suchi is played by Christian Bale. Now, Suchi, that's the father, isn't it? Suchi Maki, that's the father, I think.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. The grand uncle. I am your father, Luke. Not Cavill. It's hard to believe he's in this as the grand uncle, and yet besides Star Wars, I remember him being in How to Train Your Dragon.
Dragon, yes.
Yeah, he's Alvin the Treacherous, I believe, in that particular thing.
Mark has done a lot of work, and the only thing he
done a
really
lot
gets,
of, Kiko or Kinko is Florence Pugh. The Noble Pelican. I don't know which one's meant to be the Noble Pelican. Whether that's
the
the
one
one.
the one that was wounded and everything at the end, and
the one that he buries.
yes.
Ah, right. Well, apparently that's Willem Dafoe does that.
Yeah. You can tell with the voice of that. And
Yeah, well,
I watched, of course, the original Japanese version in Japanese, with it being the subtitles.
yeah.
But afterwards, it's like, okay, I want to hear the American actors speak as well. So I rewatched it in English.
Well, the Parakeet King is David Barista.
Yes, I know. That is
Yeah.
so funny.
Then we have Izumi, maid one, is Denise Pickering. Utaku, maid two, is Barbara Rosenblatt. Ediko, maid three, is Melora Harte. And Eiko, maid four, is Barbara Goodson. I take it that's the grannies, isn't it?
I believe so. Yes,
Yeah, I think they're great. I think the
but
grannies are great.
there
Um,
was. Oh, I
go
was
on.
just there was such humor in a very, I wouldn't say dark story, but I mean it was a serious movie,
Yeah,
and there was
the,
there
the,
there was
yeah,
such crazy humor once in a while through there.
well, the
Like,
interaction between Kiko and the old guy.
oh
Every time
God,
the old
yes,
guy had
a cigarette.
anything in his gob, you've got tobacco. No, it's such and such leaves. Do you want some? I'm not a
Yeah,
squirrel or I'm not a ground rat.
yeah.
But when he does have cigarettes, she goes at him like, like crazy. Like the Warara, believe it or not, in both films were done by the same person, which is Karen Takazawa. And the parakeets, they're not named in the Japanese version, but in the English version, you have got Mahmoud Afai, Tony Revoloni, and Dan Stevens. So, or Daniel Jonathan Stevens is an English actor, part of the Downton Abbey crew, actually. So you're muted, my dear girl.
Yeah.
You're muted.
I was gonna say with Downton Abbey, that's out in the theaters right now here too. So,
Yeah. Well, one of the guys from Downton Abbey is in this as a parakeet. Doesn't say which parakeet, but one of the parakeets. You see, there's something else that gets me to this film. You've got
oh,
you've got soul-eating pelicans, cannibalistic parakeets. I mean, really? This is the
um,
best you could come up with?
oh, well, I think the parakeets were a very good representation of everybody in Studio Ghibli that kept telling him or pushing Miyazaki to retire, and they kept chirping and chirping and chirping at him to retire. I think that was kind
That
of
was
it.
yeah, it was a backhanded comment.
Yeah,
Shall we say? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It's like I
yeah.
love you, you're beautiful, I love you, but you're
You're
get
a
out of
pain in
my
the butt.
yeah.
Yeah,
One thing I thought was so funny though, both with the heron, especially when he got stuck in the window and is trying to get out of the boy's bedroom window, and with all the parakeets, there was bird poop everywhere. And if you've ever had birds, and I've had birds and parakeets and cockatiels, and we free flight them in the house, they're free flown. And believe me, unless you have the back of the couch covered or the thing, there is literal shit everywhere.
oh yeah. There's bird guano all over the damn place, and yet
Mm,
nobody seemed to give a damn when they were covered in it. I mean, me when I go to Trafalgar Square, and a pigeon gets anywhere close to
uh,
depositing anything, I'm off in the opposite direction. I'm thinking, oh, no way, you know. But he just stood there, you know.
well, you know what's funny is that has actually never been hidden in any of Miyazaki's films. I got thinking about that because in any
So
film where he's had close encounter with birds of any sort, nature is shown. Or even in this movie, he's not afraid to show human nature or just nature in general. Like I
no,
said, with the birds and stuff. And, you know, offering, okay, I've got to get up and go to the bathroom, or I brought you a bedpan. And I'm thinking to myself, and he's what, 11, and you're offering this boy a bedpan? Yeah, that's not going to fly.
yeah. Well, the fact I think the reason she said the bedpan was there was they weren't sure how bad the
The
head
headwind was.
injury was at the time. So they brought the pan in to sort it out. As you say, yeah, not going to fly. I mean, you think about it when he's on the island with the young Kiko, and he says, "I need to go," and she says, "Yeah, it's in the yard."
Yeah.
There's no if buts, so mate. It's in the yard. You know, make your own way from the front of the house
Yeah,
to this,
to the outhouse.
literally this outhouse that's. And the first thing he does is he's sitting down and the moon shines in. How delightful.
Um, yeah, I grew up very in a very rural um area, and I had friends that were even in a more rural part where they had outhouses.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
You know,
don't
so
get me
that
wrong.
that was a normal thing for me. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, if I go to visit them, you
Oh,
know,
yeah, I mean, I understand it. I get it. I mean, I used to go to see a grandmother, my mum's mum, um, in a place up north called Stalybridge.
mm,
And when we first got there in the, I suppose it would be 64, yeah, about 1963, 64. And I said to her, I needed to go to the toilet. She opened the back door, pointed at this shed in the corner of the yard, and went, "It's there."
yeah.
And I took one look outside, and I think there was an inch of snow at the ground at that time. And I sort of stood there and looked because I just come back from Germany, and the toilet was inside the house. And I'm thinking, you want me to walk all across this snow into that garden shed? Go to, just for my young brain, it did not work. So yeah,
Oh,
I know what sheds are like. It's just,
mm,
no, I just don't never got them. But there you go.
a couple of the other things regarding symbolism, shall we say,
Yeah.
is when the grand uncle is building his little tower. And that
Hmm.
kind of almost reminded me of, oh, what is that game where you have to pull things out from blocks to make sure the
Oh
tower
well,
doesn't fall?
Kaplunk and all the rest of it, sort of stuff like that.
Yeah. But if you think about
Oh,
it, then you started to count them and realize, okay, that's the tower. And when I started to understand what this movie in my mind was, it was Miyazaki's story.
I
I thought of,
never understand why he said 13 blocks.
I have that answer for you. Do you know why there was 12 for starters?
No. Well,
There are
12 months of the year, I suppose.
no. There are 12 um, directed and done by Miyazaki himself movies. Granted, Ghibli Theater, I mean Ghibli Studios, has many, many more, but there are 12 that Miyazaki has done. However, the 13th can be referenced in two ways. One, he's passing it to his son to do, like I said with Earthsea that we'll talk about, or it is something that's already been confirmed that there will be a 13th. Now, how much involved he will be, I don't know. So it's
Okay.
either what his 13th movie, if he gets a chance to finish it, do it, whatever, or it is a symbolism of he is passing that block, that 13th block.
Well,
Because,
unless he's on about, unless they're on about well, the one that's here, the short film that he did um, in 2013, which was Bordeaux the Caterpillar.
no, we're talking about something completely new. And my thinking feeling is it's what he passed on to his son. Um, because
Ah,
what?
pardon me for interrupting.
Go ahead.
Uh, a proposal for the film or a film was The Book of Lost Things
Okay.
by John Connolly.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, and also they did a loose start on Ghost Tower,
That okay.
apparently.
Ghost Tower might have been the one that I'm thinking then,
Yeah. So,
but that could be interpreted either way.
yes, I suppose so. Yeah.
Miyazaki would direct his
Mm.
13th or that 13th because um, not Miyazaki, but I can't think of the young boy's name now at the moment. I have Miyazaki in my head.
Yeah. Well,
um,
Miyazaki Jr.
yeah, okay, yeah. Well, for lack of sense of the terms, because he was holding it. Is that, like I said, him now saying, okay, you go and do your own thing? Because even in the movie, the grand uncle is like, okay, well, you can go and do whatever because I have, you know, messed this world up. I wanted it to be different.
Yeah, but if you think about it, at the end of the film, right, Mojito
Thank you.
could never touch those blocks. He could never touch those blocks and he could never build the tower because he admits it himself. He'd
Hmm.
already done the head. So he was not able to, which is why the parakeet king, who had no idea what the score was, did what he did.
Right,
You see, this is where, again, he's the grand uncle says, my successor has to be of my bloodline.
right.
My instant thought was, well, you had two daughters. Why wait for a boy to come along? You had two daughters. One of those two daughters could have taken over and then passed it on to one of their siblings or their children. But
But
they kept it as a patriarchal thing. The way you're explaining it with Miyazaki, I get it. I get
okay,
it. But the way my mind works was, well, great. You said it has to be one of your bloodline. You've got two daughters, mate. You could have passed it on to one of them. One of those daughters has had a son. He could have stood in until the son was ready to take over. Yeah, it
but
could have, would have made
yeah,
it more complicated, but yeah.
no, you make a good point. I was thinking more along the lines, if you're going to go that route. Um, this movie has a lot of um, the samurai uh, beliefs in it, with the
Yeah,
honor and the background and the other things. And with that, I do not believe there could ever be a female samurai or a female ruler. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
there were female samurai.
There were.
There were female samurai. Yeah.
Okay, that one you got me on.
They're not very well known, I will grant you that, but yes, there were certain females who were samurai, but not per se. But they were female samurai. They could hold their own against any male samurai.
Kind of
And
like a spin on Mulan, but in real life.
yeah,
Okay.
also, any samurai bride was given a ceremonial dagger, which they were told they had to A, defend their home, B, defend their honor. And if they couldn't do either, C, they
Yeah.
had to make sure they were not captured alive.
Yes. That
So
part I knew. That part I
yeah,
knew. I just didn't know that. I always thought Mulan, the story of Mulan, was really fictitious and just something kind of fun as a strong female character. I didn't really think there were actually sort of female samurai.
yeah,
That's why I was thinking, okay, it has to be the male bloodline.
yeah. Here we go. Let's see if I can get this up. Right. Oda Bogacia, female samurai, Japan's forgotten and erased warriors. The
Hmm.
Unabushia, or female samurai, have been an integral part of Japanese society for centuries. These powerful women were skilled in the art of war and often fought alongside the male samurai in times of conflict. Despite their skill and bravery, they are not well known outside Japan. The role of women in Japan has always been complex, with women occupying various positions in society. However, the stories and accomplishment of the Unabukisai are often left out of the history books, leading to their unique contributions being underestimated. So there you go. There were female samurai, but because of it being a patriarchal society, mm, you know what I mean? Yeah, you were there, but we don't want to know.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Sorry,
Kind of like
I'm not picking holes in you, but you know, it
no,
would it.
no, it's kind of like there were females throughout a lot of our wars that people don't really talk about. I mean, we had they either one they were hidden or they just weren't really well known. They were well known then, and it's just now starting to come out in history. Oh, this woman, after her husband was killed, took over his cannon in the Revolutionary War.
Yeah,
This particular woman was actually part of the Union Army, and I think there's their counterparts with the Confederate Army, and all the way through. I don't think we had a woman hiding that I'm aware of um, in the service from World War One on. I don't believe they
no,
were there. They were in the service, but they
I
were known
think,
as women.
yeah, I think the last one that I can think off the top of my head of a female in British military service hidden was during the Napoleonic era.
Probably
Exactly
so.
where in the Napoleonic era, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I do remember somewhere there being whether it's an urban myth, I don't know. But I do remember there being something of a female in military service during the Napoleonic era. And she served about 5 or 6 years before being discovered.
Um, there are multiple, and like I said, that I think is why you were saying, well, why couldn't it have gone to a, female descendant? That's
Mm,
why I was thinking it couldn't. It had to go through the male genetic line. But you may have a point as well, as far as it could have been anybody, because Mizaki was also very forward thinking with a lot of his thoughts.
yeah,
So it's interesting, but I think most of it was, like I said, formed on his own story, just adapted out to
yeah,
a creative world.
yeah. But it's, you see, this is another thing. Everybody says this is a Miyazaki autobiography, but this is like Wind Rises, which is a fictionalized
Yep,
account of his autobiography.
pretty much. It's like you
Yeah,
got both.
it's his autobiography, but it's cherry picked and fictionalized.
Yeah.
So you know,
I got to tell you though, there was one part in the movie that I actually found creepy.
what's that? Then?
I love toads. I love frogs. My daughter, that was her
Uh,
first word. My daughter's first word was frog.
yeah.
Okay. But that whole scene where all the frogs and toads come up and just, I'm like, okay, that's a
Ah,
bit much.
you see, this is again, this is something where I find this film mirrors, as you said, Wind Rises. That part with the frogs. Now, is that real, or is that part of his imagination while he's lying in bed?
That is a very good thought. Because was this all a fevered dream
Exactly.
because of, his injury? And here's the thing, going back to just to touch on the injury a little bit. That injury was self-inflicted
Yeah.
because of, I think part of it actually had to do with his father. And I'm going to bring it back
Oh,
to his father too. Because
we
his
agree on that
father
one.
was, I'm rich. I'm one of the,
Yeah.
I've got a car. I own this air factory plant. We have wealth and status.
Yeah.
I'm going. What are the your students? The rest of the students going to think when you show up at your new school in a car? Well,
Exactly.
here they all are. Working in the fields and everything after school, and talk about resentment when this kid rolls in.
Yeah. And
So
the
it's
kid's attitude added to that does not
uh-huh.
go down well because when he's introduced to the class, most Japanese, even back then, once you're introduced to the school,
Yeah.
you then say, I'm pleased to work with you, look
Yep.
after me, and you bow. He
Wow.
didn't do
Yeah.
any of that. He
No.
just stood there, looked at them, and walked to the back of the class.
No. He had already put himself as a higher status, and they were
Exactly.
beneath him.
So the father didn't help. His attitude didn't go down too well. Plus, after the event, once he's hit his head and everything else, the father says, I've paid the school 300 yen to punish them.
Yep.
Punish the kids for what?
The
They
kids
didn't bash
didn't.
his head in. He bashed
No.
his own head in. But
But
they
Dad
didn't do
didn't.
that.
Yeah. But like I said, Dad didn't know that. But even still, right there shows superiority.
Yeah.
And also, it kind of takes you back. Okay, he bashed his head in because I truly think he had been bullied. It was so overwhelming for him. And I'm willing to bet he had probably been bullied in the other school as well.
Possible. But
Um,
he seemed
he,
more together at the beginning of the film than he did in the middle.
except for when except for when he was trying to run to his mother and get on his clothes and kick off his that was funny when he kept running back and forth kicking off his sandals and everything.
Oh,
But
yeah. But yeah. Um, those sandals, they're bloody hard to run in. They're hard to walk in, let alone running. And I know because I've got a pair. And I've tried to run in them. They are difficult because you have to it's like wearing high heels. You have to put your foot down flat.
yeah,
You can't roll your feet like you do in normal shoes. Because if you
right.
do, once you get to this
It
second
tips
part,
over.
it the dink, and of course that sudden pitching forward, off you go. Face plant time. So no,
Oh
running in them. I mean, don't ask me to run in them because I'll never do it.
yeah.
I'm
But
just
yeah,
about learning to walk in them.
I think a lot of that had to do also with the grief of his mom, the overwhelmingness of all of a sudden, and this is what kind of drove me crazy. Okay, he gets introduced to one. Of course, he knows his aunt. He's not seen her, but he knows his aunt. He knows this is his mother's sister. Dad is married to her, which, like I said, I think was custom. But then all of a sudden, you're to call me. I'm gonna be your mother now. You have to call me mother. And it's just, it's a bit fast for a young boy dealing with all of this emotion coming from everywhere. So that inflicted the self harm. But then
Um,
he hid it. But I think a lot of the rest of the story we saw was incorporated into a fever dream. I
yeah,
really do.
I
A
do. I mean,
hallucination.
like Wind Rises, you're never sure, is this a bit of reality or is this a bit of daydreaming fantasy? What might or might not be happening? Um, as I said, there's a lot of continuity errors in there. I'm not going to list them all because there's a hell of a lot. But the one that sticks out in my mind is when the pelicans have shoved him through the gate.
Yeah.
Before he gets there, he lands in the water, right?
Hmm.
And you see the waves hit him knee high, and the waves roll out, and from the knee down, he is soaking wet. By the time he's walked out of the water and up to the gate, he's dry
Dry. Yeah.
as a bone.
Hmm.
So that, to me, that's one continuity error. The second continuity error is what's so special about those damn gates? Because if you're looking at the side, the wall's not that big. And the last time I looked, those pelicans can fly. So why
They can
couldn't they just?
fly, just not well, but yeah.
So why didn't they just take off and fly over the wall and not bother with the gate?
Because I think that was all within the symbolism of everything crashing in and pushing him more and more
Yeah, yeah,
towards, you know. I think that's also why the gate broke open. They finally were able to push him forward and through it, and then they
yeah,
came in.
yeah. It's just I thought weird. There's a low wall. You've just seen these pelicans take off and push him through, but then again, they don't physically go for him because as is later pointed out, his name means the pure one, but he smells of death.
True. And one thing I found kind of fascinating is that rock formation inside the graveyard, which he knew that, it was graveyard because he could, you know, see it and sense it. But also, it very much reminded me of some of the stuff like, yeah, Stonehenge. And we've never really known what Stonehenge was.
Mm.
So, I mean, is it a burial chamber? Is it something else? You know, is it
I
a
would say, to me, you see, I've seen Stonehenge, I've seen Avebury, and what you see when they're going down those tunnels is more like the Long Barrow, where it's all built in, covered over.
Mhm.
Yeah, I suppose it has that mystery. It's where his mum. You find out it's his mum later on when she tells him. Um, Says, "Don't touch the walls because they're angry."
Yeah.
And it's a bit late because you already touched it. You know what I mean?
Well, on on that same thing, it's like as he's trying, or when they find the portal, and you notice the portal is oddly shaped, almost like, I wouldn't say a triangle, but it's slanted inward with the glowing light at the end. But there's like stairs to climb. That kind of, for me, ties in with when he first fell into the underworld. Like I said, it was kind of like the River Styx,
Yeah.
with that. And I still think there's an Egyptian tie into this because when pharaohs die, the philosophy is they're climbing the stairs, into the afterlife. And that
That
glowing,
that tunnel though, right? That tunnel
yeah,
that he walked through, when he goes through it in his dream, nothing happens.
true.
When he walks through it in reality with the heron,
Hmm.
who gets the shock? Who gets the shock walking through that? The heron, not
Of
him.
course, yeah.
The heron. Now that tunnel, which is the weird shape, as you say, to me it reminds me of the corridors of the Starship Enterprise. Actually, with the design, it also reminds me of 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Okay, you're talking about the tunnel when they first got in, and the heron says, "Come, follow me."
No,
Okay,
I'm
so you
talking
are
about the
talking about
one where he where the parakeet king climbs the stairs and cuts the
okay,
stairs
okay,
down, and then he
we are on the same one then. You kind
yeah,
of had me,
like
yeah.
that tunnel shape wise is the same kind of interior design of the corridors of the Starship Enterprise D, but also it reminds me when you start to walk through it, think of the part where the astronaut's floating and he does that forward travel in Space Odyssey and you see all the bits going past.
That's true. That
That
is
reminds
true.
me a little bit of that. There's a little, that's where the 2001 Space Odyssey comes in. I think,
It came from,
oh,
okay.
I'm thinking, okay, how far are you going to take this? He doesn't take it very far,
No.
but he takes it far enough that for me, the penny went ping, gotcha.
Well, like I said, there are so many different influences in this, as far as I'm concerned, from Miyazaki. With things as simple as Doctor Who,
Hmm.
to, like I had mentioned, the original Star Trek earlier. So he definitely pulls, and then going back to Aesop's fables, and things like that. He pulled from a lot of things that were not necessarily Japanese origin based.
No, I mean, I think with this, he had a story, but he needed to set it somewhere, but he wasn't 100% sure how to set it in any one location. And this is where this magical world appears from. Um, and he's obviously been influenced by a lot of what's going on around him, film wise,
Hmm.
TV wise, you know, literally wise. He's all had these influences, and he has just allowed these influences in this particular film to escape.
Yes, most definitely.
And this is
Even
why you get, as I say, it's like a potpourri. Somebody's taken all these little bits, Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, Princess Mononoke, 2001 Space Oddity, you know, put them all in the pot, shaky, 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 out it's come. Let's let's spread it out a bit, and now let's put the story and thread it all through. Does it work? Yeah, maybe. For
well,
me, some of it works, some of it doesn't.
well,
But
it's
that's just
funny that
me.
yeah, it's funny that you should mention that because even when they were doing an interview with him regarding the movie, he at certain parts did not really know which direction or where it was going to go. It's like how do I do this? How do I get out of this? I don't even know where
Yeah,
I'm going with this.
yeah.
Oh, and I wanted to make a quick mention since we have mentioned Enterprise in a few things. Um, our Lord and Master give us a like. Thank you, Roger.
Oh, is he giving us a like too? Oh, thank you.
Yes,
That was nice of him.
yes, it was.
Yes, that was very nice of him. Hasn't spoken to us, but he's given us a like. Hey ho, he's probably watching the game.
I know. I haven't had a chance to slide over here to my phone and actually see what the score is. 'Cause like I said, I was
Put
watching
it
it
this
before we
way.
went on air.
Put it this way, sweetheart.
Hmm?
Um, the horny ones are not doing well.
No.
No, the horny ones are not doing well.
Ah.
I believe. Well, from what I can see, the steel curtains are certainly. Yeah, they're two TDs up.
Oh goodness.
They're 14 up. I think the other guys. Yeah, the horny ones are on 6. The steel curtains are on 14.
Well, there's still a chance to make
Yeah, I
something.
said I said that last week about a certain other team, and they let me down. They let the Dodos win, but never mind. Moving on.
Well, we're talking about birds, Boy and the Heron, and the parrots and everything else. It's
Well,
fitting that we're actually talking football that has to do with the name of certain birds.
correct.
I mean, it fits. It fits.
If it, yeah, well, for us it does anyway. That's our excuse, and we're sticking to it. Oh, I am. I'm sticking to. Oh, hello.
I'm watching the game on YouTube while I'm on my computer. I'm not
I'm not
watching the
watching
NFL.
the NFL game. Yeah, okay, Roger,
Okay.
we will believe you. Thousands would not. We will believe you, dear boy.
Oh, I believe him. Thank you, Roger.
Yeah, you know he's more baseball, isn't he? So yeah, well, he probably is. Mind you, he won't be happy either because I think didn't he pick the horny ones?
Or
I
I
don't think
don't remember.
I don't remember either, but never mind. Never mind, as they say, it happens. It all happens.
Um, of course I would cough right when I started to say something.
It's nothing
Um,
unusual.
one thing that a lot of people I think were probably confused was when he created the biggest taboo and went into the birthing chamber.
Yeah,
You know, and and then all of a sudden people couldn't understand. It's like, okay, why is she so angry with him? Why is she telling him to get out? And I think it was one of two things, if not actually both things. One, she knew he was in danger. This is the most simplistic one. She knew he was in danger. And sometimes there is no way other than to turn mean and, rough with somebody to get them to a place of safety. The
yeah,
other thing I think is more deeper because I know Miyazaki quite well. I think the more deeper meaning was she still had resentment to the fact that her sister had died, and that he himself had not gotten close to her for the longest time. He was kind of off putting her because of the fact his dad had married her. She was now pregnant with his other child, and all of this just came in so fast, like you said, within a timeline. And
Yeah.
I think she shared a lot of resentment with that. I tried to get close to this boy. I love him, you know. And all of that, I think the anger, the grief of her sister, everything came out right in a great big burst of, I hate you, get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she didn't change until he reached up and actually called her mother. At that point,
Exactly.
she changed.
Yeah. I mean, he did actually. I think if I remember rightly, he actually calls her mother 3 times in that chamber, and
Hmm.
it's the second time he says it that she suddenly it
It
registers,
realizes, yeah,
and by the third time, those paper hoo-has have covered everything that you can imagine,
yeah.
and by this time he's back with the mother, the real mother. Who he at that time doesn't realize is his real mother.
Well, speaking of those paper hoo-has, like you call them, I know that there are several things within, and I don't know if it's Shinsu or another type of culture, religious culture, but there are, like, you can write wishes or different things and leave them.
Ah,
And I'm
yeah.
thinking that might have been what it was. Although it wasn't quite the
Yeah.
same shape. It wasn't the same shape, but that is the closest thing that I can think of as a
Yeah.
representation to what that was.
You're on about the when they have it's a certain ceremony where you got the tree outside,
Yes,
and then they with either kanji or hiragana write the wish and they tie it to the tree.
right.
They
Yeah.
sometimes go and do that in um, the shrines, cherry
Yeah.
trees. They'll do it in the shrine.
Yeah.
I don't know if they
That's
do
the
it
only
in.
thing I can think of. Maybe like a protection spell around her or something.
Yeah,
Originally,
that
I was thought.
was I think was protection around her. Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
protection around her. Um, yeah, I mean the only other Miyazaki I can think of that used something similar was Spirited Away.
I was gonna say the same thing. When she goes to the temples, when she goes to the shrines.
Well, in Spirited Away, the river god was it Hero, the little
Hiroko. Yeah.
yeah, he gets chased by a whole load of those
Right.
by
And they
the other
cut him.
sister. Yeah,
Yeah.
they exactly, and it's little Shihiro that opens the window to get him in and then closes
Them
the
out.
window, but not fast enough because one of them attaches to the back of her,
Right.
and then she climbs up to see the witch. It follows her up.
Yeah. That was exactly what I was thinking of when I was seeing it. And
Yeah,
that's the only thing I can associate it with.
yeah,
You know.
it's something similar, similar,
You
but
know, when he finds that the younger version of his mother, and he wants to bring her forward, but she knows she really can't. She's going to have to go forward in her own time, like it
yeah,
was, because his the aunties are all talking about, or the fact that, well, she left, she disappeared, she was missing for a year. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she came back, and she was
yeah,
happy and just, so wonderful and so positive. And she is telling him now, her son, once he realizes that's his mother, you've got to come back with me. She's like, no, I need to go back through to my own time.
yeah,
And he's like, but if you do, you're going to die. And she's like, I'm aware of this.
yeah.
And one thing that she said, and myself as a mother, I identify with her on this particular aspect so 100%. She tells him that you are my greatest accomplishment. No matter anything else, you are my greatest accomplishment.
Yeah.
And that, I think, wraps up a lot of what mothers feel. It's
Hmm.
like, you know,
But when she goes through that door. It's the other granny that goes through with her. Have you
uh
noticed?
huh. Well, the other granny was one of the little protection things.
Well, no, he gets a little granny protection
Right.
from the grand uncle.
Right. Oh, yeah. But the younger version had gone through with her.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But the younger version, that when he pops up and she's on that boat and rescues him from the pelicans,
Yes.
she steps through the same door as the mother. So that to me tells me that those two had a connection as well. You don't know what it is, but there's a
No, you don't.
connection between the two.
No, I agree 100%.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it was it's an interesting. I mean, it's what 124 something like. It's a fairly long film.
It's a fairly long film, and here's the thing. It like you said, box office hits, but I mean, let's look at this. It was nominated for the Academy Award. It was nominated and won the Golden Globe, for the British Academy of Film and Television Arts. For animation, it was a
I
winner.
can yeah, I can I've got a brief list of awards that it was A nominated for and B won.
You
And
probably have
the
more than
first
I
one
do
I've
then.
got,
Yeah.
yeah, is the Toronto International Film Festival, September 17th, 2023. People's Choice Award, Boy and the Heron. It was second runner up. Golden Globe Awards, January the 7th, Best Animated Feature, Boy and the Heron. It won. The musical director was only nominated. For the Annie Awards, which is obviously the Japanese ones, in February 2024, Best Animated Feature, it was nominated. Outstanding Achievement for Directing a feature production. Outstanding Achievement for Writing in a Feature Production. Storytelling in a Feature Production. And was all they were all nominated, but they only won the Outstanding Achievement for Storyboarding, a feature production. They won that one. Then they also won the Outstanding Achievement for Character Animation. They won that. Was Takahashi Honda won that. They were also then nominated for a further two, but didn't win. And the British Film Academy, Best Animated Film, they won that. And Academy Awards, March the 10th, 2024, Best Animated Feature, they won that. So it won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It won 5 out of all those that it was nominated for.
Yeah, but here's the thing. As far as I'm concerned, of those five, one of the best would have been the Golden Globe. I mean, seriously, you know.
Yeah, well, it won the Best Animated Feature in the Golden Globes.
Do we know for the Oscar and for the Golden Globes, do we know what it was up against? I had meant to look that up, and I can't remember what it was up against. I remember when he won, so I was watching it, but I don't remember who were the other nominees.
Oh, 2020s, 2023. Now I've got it up here. I can't actually
You can't
find it.
find it, yeah.
Oh, here we go. Boy and
Okay.
the Heron. In 2023, it was up against Elemental, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse,
That's right.
the Super Mario Brothers, and a movie that we have reviewed, Suzume,
Yes. Now I
and
remember that.
Wish.
I don't remember what Wish was about, but the others most definitely. And what surprised me was it had one up against Spider-Man. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. I was trying to see you know, I was trying to see the British Film Award what it was up against, but unfortunately they don't have it. So
Yeah, that's okay. But did you say that it did not win for the musical score? I thought it had.
no, it did not fit for the musical score.
Okay.
Yeah, 2024 for the Academy Awards. Basically, it was up against the same as it was in the others.
Okay.
Best
Per-
Picture in 2024 was Oppenheimer.
right.
Leading role was Cecily Murphy in Oppenheimer. Original screenplay was Anatomy of the Fall. Animated feature was Boy and the Heron. Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Kemp Powers and Lord. No, that was it. Yeah, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was Kemp Powers, Justin Thompson, Phil Lord, Christopher Miller. Oh yeah, but that's in 2024. That's what it was up against in the Academy Awards.
Yeah. I just to me, like I said, I it blows me away. Like I said, it blows me away with the Golden Globe that both it was animated and won.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I
and
did
then
get. Yeah, I did get the British one. Now I just found it.
oh, okay.
Yeah, and the British Film Awards was Boy and the Heron. It was up against Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget.
I
But that was,
I I have somebody who might be interested in that, considering we're interviewing him later today.
yeah, well, Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget. Sam Felt, Leia Hobart, Steve Pegram, then Elemental and Spider-Man Across the Spider Universe. So there you go. That's what he was up against in that.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at this. Yeah, you're right, Roger.
Not just Chicken Run, Roger. Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget. I mean,
What
I've
came
heard of
first?
Chicken Run. I've got Chicken Run, but I've never heard of Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget. I've not even seen it, but never mind. Hey ho. What do I know? What do I know?
Yes, Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget to my plate.
Yeah, well, such is life, I suppose.
It's funny. I We normally do dinner and the movie review, but
Yeah,
there's so much of this movie to unpack. And we're already 1.5 hours in, and we normally wrap it up at 1.5. Um, I just wanted to say one of the things, and you can probably look up any of these recipes to suit your taste. What I was going to say was, so kind of obvious because of the movie, a good fish stew.
yeah.
You're giving me a weird look, but you agree, Aisha?
Well, yeah, considering that he goes out and catches a rather large fish, which to me looks like an oversized um, camphor fish from about 30 million years ago. But yeah,
Parts of it, only parts, reminded me a bit of a tuna,
yeah,
but no, it was like some of the shape, but it wasn't quite the head or the scales part.
yeah. I
So
mean, I suppose parts of it you could say was more catfish like, but you know,
yeah,
but Philocanthus reminded me of because it was, but never mind, it was a rather large fish.
and just even saying that, even last night when I was trying to think of things, it is not hot enough. I mean, not hot enough, God. Um, it's not cold enough here to do anything like that. But a nice, thick, savory, white fish with some potatoes and carrots and onion and a
Well,
good rich broth.
you want to come
That
over here because the forecast for this evening is it's going to be bloody cold enough for a severe ground frost.
oh, you're finally to that point.
Yeah, we've got there already. It's going to
Ah,
be cold enough for a severe ground frost this evening.
well, it's supposed to be taking a dip a little bit today, and only going to be the high of 80 here, which you know it's not that bad. It's you know so compared to it was almost 90 yesterday, but it's going to go down into the lows. Finally, I think maybe finally, finally we're hitting fall weather because I looked up like 10 days ahead and we're all decent weather.
Well,
So
you said there was hope when we
yes.
had a no, there isn't.
Oh no, tell me.
21-6.
Oh,
21-6.
I think a
So,
lot of us. I think a
yeah.
lot of us split on that too.
So, looks like tinfoil man pulled it out of the pan. Damn it.
Yeah,
Never mind.
but yeah. So I'm thinking we probably should go ahead and wrap things up because one, I do have another um,
Show to
podcast
get on
coming up,
with.
and I do want to catch part of the game and do other things.
Well, you can
So
catch part of the game, but to be honest, sweetheart, you'll probably be disappointed.
I think I'm
If
going to
you're
be starting
watching that
drinking
one, you
very.
will anyway.
I think I'm
If
going
you're
to
watch-
start to be drinking very early today.
yeah, if you're watching that particular film, you will be, or that particular game, you will be disappointed. Believe you me.
No, they might pull out an Eagles.
I doubt it. I severely doubt it. I mean, it's the third quarter already.
Roger. Of course, we follow the games and the scores. Good lord.
We're clever, we are. We can multitask. It goes with who we are and what we are. We can multitask, we can concentrate on what we're doing, but at the same time, off to one side, we can do other things.
Yeah.
We have to. There are times when
How
you
else are
have
we going
to.
to keep our sanity?
Yeah. Anyway, you've got your other program to get ready for. Oh, you
Son?
got sunshine. You're bragging now. Look, I've got sunshine. I'm
Okay,
going to
but
go
but but
outside.
but but my vampire tendencies do not let me go outside in the sun. I would melt or
Oh,
turn to
yeah.
dust.
Turn to dust. Oh, right. Yeah, that's true. That's why you'll never get in my front door because you got to be invited.
Mm.
See? Mm. Sure enough. Yeah. Very
All
true,
right.
Watch. Okay, my dear. I will leave the farewells in your capable hands.
Well, guys, this is the fourth week of football, so hopefully everybody's having a good time. If you're watching, be safe. Don't drink and drive. Don't overindulge in all the snacks. And don't have a stroke as you're yelling at whatever team you're following if they're losing, or enjoy of them winning. On that note, we will see you guys back here again in 2 weeks for another wonderful show. Oh, be quiet.